Hello, thanks for checking out this video. In my book film club series that I'm doing, today's video is about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein film, as well as Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein, or The New Prometheus, which is the secondary title of it. And I'll admit, I am embarrassed to say I never actually read Frankenstein. It's just been on my reading list forever, but after seeing the movie that just came out, I'm bumping into the top. I really want to read it. The novel was written in the early 1800s by a woman, Mary Shelley, and is largely considered sort of the birth of science fiction. Has a lot of overlap with horror elements like Gothic horror, as a lot of science fiction does. But Frankenstein, the novel, was written by a woman, and it is considered like sort of the beginning of the science fiction genre. I never actually read it, like I said, and now I'm going to prioritize it. But the film that just came out by Guillermo del Toro, I thought was excellent. I thought it was a perfect film. There are not a lot of movies that I would give a perfect score of 100% to if I was a critic, but I think this one qualifies. I think the source material is obviously excellent. It stood the test of time. And Guillermo del Toro is an excellent filmmaker. He's also responsible for one of my other favorite movies, which is Pan's Labyrinth, which I also think is amazing. Right on the cover of this, it says, one critic said, "On the same altar of high fantasy as the Lord of the Rings trilogy." Now that's extremely high praise because, obviously I love Lord of the Rings, right? But this is, I would argue, it's really excellent, and on that level as well. This is kind of dear to my heart because it's like Lord of the Rings-esque fantasy mixed with bleak modern day realism. So this is also known as magical realism because it alternates between a young girl's dark reality in Second World War Spain, where the fascists are battling the anarchists, and sort of this other fantasy world. And the movie is it's open to interpretation how you want to perceive it, right? Like, is this all in her head? Is it her dissociative fantasy, or is it there actually something magical going on? And that's what I like about films, that leaves it up to the viewer. So if you haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth, you should definitely see this. It's an excellent film. But judging between this and Guillermo del Toro's latest film, Frankenstein, it's hard for me to say what's better because I thought he knocked it out of the park with Frankenstein. Visually, it's beautiful. The acting is excellent. And I can't really say like how faithful it is to the source material because now I have to go read the book right away. But the film, visually stunning, very well paced. Actually, I was talking with my friend who watched it with me, and we both agreed it's 2.5 hours long. It could have used an extra 20 minutes just to fill out a bit of the relationship between Frankenstein's monster and the woman that, there's kind of a friendship or some sort of attraction there between them, and that could have been expanded a little bit. But overall, excellent film, and it makes me think specifically about the tech billionaires. And that's why I think this is still relevant story to today, because it's actually directly what is happening. In Frankenstein, in the film at least, it's in Europe when most people are suffering and poor, and there's wars going on and stuff. That's where they get the cadavers to experiment on, actually, from victims of, I think it's the Napoleonic War. But anyway, the idea is that a very wealthy narcissistic guy is funding another genius narcissistic guy to try to figure out how to resurrect life or to create another body that he can transfer into, basically, because the one guy is dying. So what it is you have these super powerful people who have amassed all this wealth, and now they don't want to die, and they become obsessed with living forever. And I think that's what's going on right now with the transhumanist movement. We have capitalism, which is just a toxic system, and we're in late stage capitalism now, and all these tech billionaires have all this money. But the thing with like material wealth and materialism and all this stuff is you can't take it with you when you die, and we all die. So what's the point in spending your entire life pursuing material wealth? It's like a trap, a spiritual trap. And I think about that a lot because I think that our whole planet and ecosystems and the species is going to go extinct because of the behavior of these tech billionaires who don't care about anything except themselves. Having that much money and power changes your brain chemistry, and it makes you insane. It's another reason why I love Lord of the Rings and Tolkien and all that, right? Because it is an allegory for how that kind of power unavoidably will corrupt any mind, and you will basically lose your soul in the process. Same theme there, right? We all have to accept that we are mortal creatures and always will be. I don't believe that you can transfer your consciousness into a machine. I don't think that's how consciousness works, and never will. And I think that people, when they have that much wealth and power become consumed by it and wanting more, and get, they're terrified of death. They're definitely atheistic, materialists who don't believe, I don't think they believe in the afterlife. And so the point is, it's interesting to, it makes 2 points about society that I think we all need to reflect on. One, that a life spent pursuing that, nothing but materialism and wealth and power will leave you spiritually bankrupt and a waste of life. And you can't live forever, and it's a futile attempt at doing so. And there's another thing about the film that I thought was really relevant. I just got to remember what that was I was about to say. Oh yes, it also brings up a broader question for me. This is actually what I want to ask my viewers, how they feel about this. If there was a person who showed up at your door tomorrow, some kind of tech billionaire or mystical person or something, and he had a pill, and he said, I can give you this pill and you'll live forever and you'll never die, would you actually want to do that? Because, as I've said in other videos, I'm not actually a material atheist, right? Even though I don't like religion at all. I do suspect that there is a lot more going on in the universe than just the material physical stuff, and that we aren't just completely random byproducts of epiphenomenalism. I suspect that there's probably a greater mind, a unified monistic mind that we're all little pieces of, that we come from, and hierarchical intelligence in the universe and stuff. And I think that perhaps the reason a lot of us are here is to sort of evolve as little minds that expand to bigger minds, and upon death we enter a new type of simulation or something with the cumulative growth that we've acquired in this life spiritually. And that living forever might actually be the ultimate trap, the ultimate hell. I mean, if this life, this world, this universe that we're in is really just meant to be a schoolyard for the soul, or a period where we come here and evolve and go up, evolve or devolve based on will or something like that, then being trapped here would actually prevent you from ever, graduating to something much bigger and broader. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced altered states of consciousness, but a lot of people talk about, expanded awareness, or people that do DMT, they often describe their consciousness on DMT expanding and feeling realer than real. I have a book here by Rick Strassman called DMT and the Soul of Prophecy, but Rick Strassman also wrote The Spirit Molecule, because he was an actual doctor that was sanctioned by the US government to do clinical trials with DMT on people. He did hundreds of them, if not thousands. And the most common phrase he said that people in his clinical studies came when they'd sober up from their DMT trip is they would describe the DMT world as realer than real. And the hard problem of consciousness has never been solved by a materialist paradigm. So I think that this mind that we have, this egoic mind that we have in this world, is really just a small, reduced consciousness. The way a dream feels smaller and less detailed and precise than your waking consciousness. I suspect that this world that we're in right now is just kind of like a dream, and there is potentially much broader, expanded states of consciousness that we can exist in if we evolve into them. And so that's why I don't really think that, of course my mammalian mammal brain does fear death in some way, but that's more of like it's a fear of the unknown. It's universal to human experience. On the other hand, the more I learn and the more I meditate and the more I grow and even intellectually understand, I understand. I think that Dante and Plato had it right when they talked about how to grow and understand the universe, partly intellectually, partly experientially. And I think that love is a big part of it too. And the more I evolve as an individual person, the more I suspect strongly that this isn't the be-all, end-all, and that death is not the complete annihilation of everything. Carl Jung had who I'm very influenced by, had some interesting thoughts on that too. So if somebody came to my door and offered me this pill to live forever, to become immortal, I don't think I want it. I think it's a trap. I think I want to live a very meaningful life with purpose, and hopefully evolve and grow and live a natural lifespan and experience it and then die. And that's kind of what I think is the point, and what and my fear of death is changing and shifting as I age. I fear it less intellectually. I fear it less intuitively, although I don't know if anybody ever can lose that fear of death, since we are an animal and it's kind of built into us to keep us alive on some level. But I'm approaching 40, so about that midway point in my life, and as Carl Jung said, like, you kind of enter a new phase at 40, and I think going forward, like, I just want to live a meaningful life and then die when it's my time. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this subject, and if you have any thoughts, please share them with me. Thanks a lot. I'll see you guys in the next video.